I'm Kristen, this is Fabio, and this is our dog Yoda. We're looking for adventure and freedom in harbors unknown, but for now, we're starting in our own backyard. We sold our dream home of 16 years that we remodeled with love and attention to every detail, along with most of our possessions, and moved on to our catamaran Wanderlust across the canal. We're a couple of dreamers with a longing to explore the world's natural wonders, food, and cultures. To live by the wind, current, and the sun. Click the subscribe button to come along for the ride. We made our way through the Las Olas Bridge, headed for Biscayne Bay. We were leaving later than we had intended, and with winds forecast at 20 knots, this was going to be an interesting sail. Our friends, Mark and Jennifer, were along for the ride, and they were excited about the experience. It was just a few weeks before the Fort Lauderdale International Boat Show, so there was a lot of traffic on the water, including this 80-foot sunreef catamaran named Bundalung. We stopped for fuel at the Fort Lauderdale Marina since we hadn't fueled up since we received the boat and we were going to be away for a week. There are 200-gallon tanks on board, so we filled each to about 70 gallons.
This is big time math right now, Kristen.
Math is not my strength.
It's always so cool to see the huge container ships coming in and out of Port Everglades, though I do prefer it when they're not in the channel at the same time as us. Once we were out of the channel, we pulled up the sails and we were off on a beautiful sunset sail. The wind was about 20 knots from the north, just about straight behind us. This caused some pretty rolly seas as the wind hit the current of the Gulf Stream. We decided to put a reef in the mainsail from the start to be safe. The boat speed was a comfortable 10 knots. We kept an eye on things and were able to enjoy the scenery and conversation. This was going to be our longest sail to date on our new Seawind 1600 Wanderlust. It was a great opportunity to assess her performance. It was so cool to see this monohull sailing upwind. They were booking. We had put a second reef in the main, and our speed slowed a bit, but we were okay with that. As day faded into night, the winds picked up, gusting to 28 knots. But the sunset over the water was mesmerizing. The golden rays of light shimmering on the crests of blue waves created an iridescent color palette. I am so grateful for moments like these. We just couldn't stop watching the sunset. Soon the sun sank below the horizon. It's amazing how quickly it disappears once it reaches that horizon line. It wasn't long before the multicolored lights of the Miami skyline greeted us, and we were able to anchor just outside of No Name Harbor off of Bilbag State Park in Biscayne Bay. The next morning, the first order of business was to take Yoda to shore so she could stretch her legs and go potty.
Woo! She's like, party! We're off the boat! Oh.
Happy dog.
Won't stop for traffic lights. And I really wanna know.
She now realized the life vest meant she got to go for a dinghy ride. So while initially she hated it and even tried nipping me every time I put it on her, now she's super excited when she sees it and can't wait to put it on.
You can say I lost my mind. I will keep on holding my head high.
Later that day, we had a few friends on board to celebrate my birthday. It had been a while since we'd seen them all due to quarantine, so it was especially nice to see everyone. We are so lucky to live in a place where you can create your own oasis with people you trust. With the Miami skyline in the distance, aquamarine water, wind, and sun, we were in paradise.
We get up and start from the ground.
We went for a beautiful day sail on Biscayne Bay. The winds reached 20 knots even in the bay, and we cruised at 10 knots.
Figure out where the road goes. Even if I'm falling down,
With the dagger boards and rudders up, the Seawind 1600 draws just 2 foot 1 inch. But there are quite a few shallow spots in Biscayne Bay, so Fabio kept a close eye on the charts and the water.
the sky is falling down.
Oh my god.
The sky is falling down.
The doctor.
A rainbow graced the skies and made a beautiful day even better. With Stiltsville and kiteboarders off in the distance, the anchorage could not have been more picturesque. The next morning, we dinghied into Bilbag State Park to take Yoda for a walk, and I went for a run. It felt so good to stretch my legs. Fabio is always on the lookout for suspicious activity and thought a nearby boat had been watching us, but they turned out to be lobstermen checking their traps. The anchorage inside is called No Name Harbor and offers a bit more protection, but we prefer to have more space and privacy outside the harbor. We pulled up to the seawall beside the grill restaurant and hopped out of the dinghy. It's amazing that we've lived in South Florida for 16 years and we'd never been to this park. It was a hub of outdoor activity with people walking, jogging, biking, and fishing, all at a safe distance. in my headphones, stretched a bit,
I see a sky with a rainy cloud, but I'm not running. I see a train rolling on.
set my watch to go for a run. Keeps me in shape, clears my head, and makes me feel better. I grew up running cross country, so I tried to go at least once a week. While on my run, I came across the Cape Florida Lighthouse. Constructed in 1825, it guided mariners off the Florida reef, which starts near Key Biscayne and extends southward a few miles offshore of the Keys. During the Second Seminole War, it was badly damaged. It was rebuilt in 1846 and now stands at 95 feet. After my run, we hopped in the dinghy and headed back to Wanderlust. Our friends Ashley and Steve had arrived, so we sailed over to Elliott Key and hopped into the dinghy in search of snorkeling spots. We should have done our homework because we couldn't find anything except for grass. A few years back, we went to Elliott Key with a friend who knows the area, and there were a ton of coral heads. And on a separate occasion, we went with the same friend and caught a whole mess of lobster. Not this time. Next time we'll do our research. The sunset on our last night was absolutely spectacular. The perfect finish to a wonderful week. In the morning, we hoisted the mainsail while still on anchor. We then pulled up the anchor and set off towards Fort Lauderdale. We motor sailed past the Cape Florida Lighthouse and Stiltsville. Thanks for joining us this week. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, ding the bell for notifications, and if you have a friend who might enjoy it, we'd love it if you'd share it with them. Once out of the channel, we unfurled the gennaker and turned off the engine. Unfortunately, squalls and unpredictable winds in the high 20s kept us busy, so we didn't film the rest of the sail. Join us next week as we talk energy management with a special guest. You don't want to miss it.